Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Bonus and I am a Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I do this weekly edition of a tutorial every week for you guys, just to kind of play with a fun project or technique and give you a start to finish walkthrough of how I complete it. So I want today to show you a card using the Kindest Gnomes bundle. This adorable set is in our holiday catalog and it has the nice stamps and a coordinating set of dies. So our project today is going to feature those little build-it-yourself gnome dies and then a really fun gatefold card. You can also use some of the other dies to coordinate with the paper from the Storybook Gnomes set, specifically these little gnomes as well as a set of the mushrooms. And at the end of the video, I'll show you a sneak peek of a card that you can use those pieces for as well. But if you would like to follow along with me, I always like to list the measurements for you in the video description. But I have also decided I'll give them to you as we go so you can maybe follow along as well. So this little gatefold card here has a fun belly band that can be removed, and then your papers open like so, just to give you a really fun way of reading what's inside your card. So if you'd like to follow along, let's get going. You will need a card base, and I chose Poppy Parade. My card base is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and you're putting 2 score marks on here. So one is at 2 1/8, the other is at 6 3/8. And then it should fold in and create this little space right here. So it doesn't matter whether you start on the outside or inside of your card. I like to kind of start on the inside of mine just because it's the easiest. So I've grabbed a piece of crumb cake that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to attach that just with some flat adhesive. So I prefer the double-sided tape, but if you like seal or glue, you can go ahead and use those pieces now. So this goes just in this middle space. And then for one more layer, just so you have something to write on, I went with basic white. This is 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to attach it the exact same way with some tape. And at the end, if you decide you'd like to stamp something on the inside, I will show you the stamp set that I used for that. But we'll do all of our other cutting pieces before we get inky. So putting that on the inside here. There we go. Now for your 2 outside panels, these 2 here, we're going to cut identical pieces of crumb cake. So I have 2 of them. These are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. On top of them, you need 2 pieces of designer paper that are exactly the same size as well. So 1 5/8 by 5 inches. And these 2 I did get from the Ringed with Love DSP package. It was one of our celebration items. If you need some and you're here in Canada, I do have some extra packs, or you can probably just ask around, or you have a whole stock. But the cards that I'm going to show you at the end, you can also use the Storybook Gnomes paper, and you'll get a nice wintry look instead of this fall theme. So I'm putting double-sided tape on the back of my designer paper. Of course, I could have chosen to use this really adorable wood as well, but I'm going with the greenery and the mushrooms. Those get attached to your crumb cake piece. And then the crumb cake we do want to pop up on dimensionals because we'll want it to kind of stand out from your card a little bit. So you can just turn these two panels over and start applying dimensionals to the back of that space. Make sure you get the tops and the bottoms, and then just a couple in the middle section as well. These two little panel pieces can get attached now, so go ahead and take all your little backings off. We're actually not doing much stamping on this card. A lot of it is just paperwork and that fun fold, of course, with the gates. If you cut your pieces from the same package, you might want to just take a peek and make sure that if any of your patterns connect, that they're kind of facing the right way. So you can sort of see these two pieces would have lined up together because you have my greenery, my leaf. So I'd want them to rest in this orientation. For the most part, it won't matter, but some patterns are very directional and you'll just want to make sure you look before you attach. Okay. So this is simple. That's our little gatefold. I am going to go ahead and do my stamping now so that when we close up our card, we don't have to open it back up. So because we're using, pardon me, the Ringed with Love paper, I thought let's bring in the Ringed with Nature stamp set, which coordinated, and we're going to use the little mushroom pieces from here. So the mushroom trio, the stems, I'm going to use a Sahara Sand or Crumb Cake, whatever you have on hand. Just something nice and light. That's just going down in the bottom right-hand corner of my piece. And then the mushrooms, we're going to use Poppy Parade, which is the same color as our background here. So they kind of, whoops, sorry, I clicked something. There we go. I think we're still good. They should overlap quite nicely for you, okay? So Poppy Parade, all three of those mushrooms are on one stamp, so you do not have to figure out how they coordinate. All three are on there. And you can just stamp them in one shot. I think I need to re-ink that soon. There we go. So there's the inside. I wanted to do that because the next thing we're building is this little belly band. So you'll need to cut yourself a strip of paper, and this is Poppy Parade. So it measures 1 inch wide by 11 inches long. Once you have that cut, we'll be doing 2 score marks on here. One of them is going to be at 2, it might have been this way, so 2 7/8 by 7 1/4. 2 7/8, 7 1/4. So on my right hand side, I have the long strip. I'm just going to fold that over right now. And then I'm going to put a little bit of tape on this very edge. And that is going to be one of my connecting points for the belly band to close up. The other is going to be on the short side here on this inside lip. So on the very edge, right here is my other tape. Okay, so just to show you once more, we've got our whole long strip. I've folded the long side over and I've added adhesive to the edge. And then on this little panel, so that when I close these up, it will connect here and here. I'm going to go ahead and take off my adhesive backings and connect those 2 points, and you'll have this little circle, kind of like this. It will fit right over the top of your card. And there was enough room for you to pop these up on dimensionals. You'll kind of have a tight fit if you decided to pop the DSP up on dimensionals too. So there's our belly band. To decorate, I cut out the largest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies, and I embossed it with the Sprigs and Twigs Embossing Folder. I'm going to attach this to my belly band with dimensionals, but the easiest way to do that is just to put 4 dimensionals on the red belly band, so that I know none of my circle is kind of closing the card up by touching over top. So I just like to put the dimensionals kind of in this middle space. I know the circle is going to cover that, and it's also covering that fold line that we had from our belly band papers. And this can go right in the middle of that space. Now the last thing you need to build is a little gnome. So all of those pieces that I mentioned from the Kindest Gnomes set, oh, pardon me, were cut out using Poppy Parade, Petal Pink, Soft Suede, and Basic White. So I've got a beard, legs, hat, and a little nose. I like to start with my nose, so I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue, which, sorry, the label has fallen off. So we're going to put just a tiny dot in the middle of his nose there. I see a couple of you are watching, so feel free to say hi if you'd like to. Let us know where you're from. If you want to just watch quietly, that's okay. So there's your little nose. You can then use the glue in these little tiny spaces. Do you see there's kind of the beard lines that go down quite easily, and then there's these kind of funny little edges. That is intended for you to know exactly where your hat sits. So we're just putting a couple dots of glue, one on the left and one on the right, in that space. Then when you put your hat on, it's fitting only in that tiny space, so make sure to just hold it for a couple seconds so that glue sticks. Now, putting the pants and shoes on isn't as easy. There isn't a fun little line that you line up, but I just found the easiest way to do this is to put a couple dots of glue across the top of his pants, and then we're just going to rest the beard gently so it kind of just is halfway down his shoes. You can adjust it however you want. You can hide more of the shoes, you can show more, but that one's a little bit less forgiving. Okay, so again, making sure to hold it in place just for a couple seconds so that glue has a chance to stick. Then when you're ready, you can turn him over and we'll put some dimensionals on the back. The tip of the hat doesn't actually fit on the circle, so don't bother putting adhesives all the way up there. Just put them down kind of in his beard space and maybe on his legs. There we go. And then he can go right in the middle here. What I worried about was just his little feet kind of resting on the bottom of the circle. And then his hat can poke out the top as much as it needs to as well. And there's your card. It's super, super simple, and it's really easy for you to mass produce. You can make really fun belly bands all over the place. And as I promised, if you decide that, hey, I would like to actually get this paper, what you can do is take some of the Kindest Gnomes dies, these little guys here, and they coordinate with the gnomes. So where's the other one? That guy's all the same. Should be one that goes the opposite direction. Maybe it's somewhere else. So you can cut out all of these gnomes. Oh, here we go. And the girl gnomes. And then there's also a die for the mushrooms that are on another page. And you can cut those out and make yourself these cards. So you have kind of a fall theme if you use the mushrooms, or a winter theme if you use snowflakes, and there's a bunch of other cute patterns in here too. But these are just two ideas. You'd do the exact same fold, but instead of the build it yourself gnome, you would use one of the mushrooms and the little gnome from the paper. So easy to do, but I wanted to show you how to build that gnome because I had a few questions about it. So there you go. I'm going to move this. And I'll put this back for a second for you. And just a reminder, if you are in Canada, we have that really great starter kit promotion going on this month. Well, actually, if you're anywhere, it still works for you. You can pick out $206 worth of product and pay only $135. You can go to my website and click join now to find more info, or you can message me and I'm more than happy to walk you through it. But I always like to tell you about the deals. The clearance rack was updated this afternoon as well. So again, you can go to my website and check out those items. They go very quickly, and so I can't necessarily even say what's still on there, but there was some paper and jewels and ribbons, and I hope you have fun. I hope you have fun with these projects, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.